Hello, Kyle here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to go about turning a standard conventional frame into a shadow box that has an artwork that appears like it's floating. First thing you'll want is a good knife, a point driver, so you can use a conventional staple gun and jury rig a technique to make it happen, but it looks sloppy and it's confusing. You'll want some acid-free archival double-sided tape, which is this stuff here, and some nice linen hanging tape, a steel ruler, a framing ruler, a cutting mat, pliers, your artwork, some pieces of acid-free foam core that have been cut to size. You're going to need a piece of mat board and your frame. This has to be a fair bit bigger. So the first thing you'll want to do is use your pliers to take out all of the existing points. Okay, so now you'll want to remove the glass and backing. You'll want to hold on to both of these items. Frame itself, you can just put this aside for now because you won't be needing it for a while. You take your mat board and be sure this is the back rather than the front. Now you'll want to center the piece of glass from the frame on top of your mat board. You can use one of these great clear framing ruler things. Now that the glass is centered, you'll want to lightly trace around the glass. Once you've traced your outline, remove the glass. Now you'll want to take your metal edge ruler and place it on the inside of the line. You don't want to cut on the actual line itself. You'll want to shrink it by the thickness of the mat and maybe a 32nd of an inch. When you're cutting a long distance with one of these rulers, it's very possible that it'll slide out, so it's good to try to hold it, spread your hand out, just do whatever you can to minimize the sliding. And while holding the ruler, you'll want to score, but not cut all the way through. Don't do a lot of pressure on this one, just multiple passes and be cautious. All right. Now that I've scored just on the inside of that measurement, I'll want to cut out these corner pieces and discard them because they will not be needed. Now that the corners are removed, I'm going to want to make sure that these outside edges are perfectly even and make sure they're the appropriate length. To determine the thickness that you should be cutting these edges, you'll want to measure from the lip to the edge of the frame, so this distance here, but you also want to subtract the thickness of the mat board plus the thickness of the cardboard backing that you're using. And you might want to even subtract a 64th of an inch or a 32nd, also just to leave space for the points that you're going to be adding as well. All right, so you'll place the ruler right on this inside line and then measure out and put a mark. Now by measuring on both sides, that'll make sure the line is straight. Crop this part off. Do not discard these long lengths of scrap mat board because they will come in really handy later on as shims. So set that aside for now. Okay, now you're going to want to fold all of these edges up. This should be very easy, so if you have any sort of resistance, you'll want to go over and lightly score a little bit deeper. Now that you've completed the shadow box portion of the frame, it's time to take your artwork, put it on the cutting mat. Again, this is the surface of the artwork, so make sure what you're facing it down on is clean. Now take your acid-free foam core, get it centered, confirm that it is a smaller by, a quarter inch or half an inch or so on all four sides. Use your linen tape to attach the artwork to the foam core backing. So now that the artwork is taped to the foam core, we put double-sided tape on the other side of this foam core and then place it down on the center of the shadow box portion. Now you'll want to thoroughly clean one side of the glass. Place the glass inside the frame. Now that you have the glass inside the frame and you've made sure that it's clean, just take an air blower, because there's always going to be a piece of dust that you missed. Tape these edges shut neatly. Carefully insert the artwork. Remember these scrap edges. If there's any slide in this, use this as shims between the box and the edge of the frame. You want this to be very firm. Original backing material. Plop that in place. You'll want to look at the art before putting in the points just to 100% confirm that you've got everything in a way that you're happy with it. And now take your point driver and install points. All right, so the points are in place. Finished shadow box. Of course, you'll want to give the front of the glass a bit of a wipe down. But I'd say this is ready to add some D-rings and hang. So that's how you turn a conventional frame into a shadow box.